Okay, so let me get this straight. Indiana won a national championship in football. Nebraska basketball is undefeated. The Jackrabbit women lost a conference game. And the Bison basketball programs have won 21 consecutive games. Plus, they're both ranked in the mid-major top 25. Ethan, what planet are we on?
I believe we're on planet Earth.
Welcome to the Bison Overtime Show. I'm Grant Huber alongside Ethan Eibach. Peter Havelka will join us throughout another power hour of Bison Athletics talk. And as the intro just showed you, it's horns up, not ears up.
Yeah, it was a good day to be a Bison. Beating the Jacks in any sport's always great, but in basketball especially, it's always great.
So we're going to go into NDSU football stuff first. So Jim Kramer, longtime strength coach for the Bison football program, has retired. He was considered to be, let's just call it the key to the Dakota Dynasty run, according to one of your favorites on X. It's a bad take for us to think that the NDSU program is fine without Jim Kramer. That's a bad take.
Yeah.
I don't understand that one bit.
Yeah,
Why is that a bad take?
Look how many coaches we've gone through, head coaches, assistant coaches in the last 15 years, still won 10 national championships. Yeah, he was the constant the whole way, but Ryan Napoli has been his, I don't know what the word
protege.
is. Yeah, he's been there the whole way through, and they're going to be just fine. It's the Montana State guys. We just got to ignore it. The Bison are going to be fine.
Yeah, and then another thing, Nathaniel Stanley at last day of the portal window. So 24 hours to go. We're feeling good about ourselves. Everything's good, but Nathaniel Stanley goes in the portal and then signs with Michigan like an hour later. So
yeah,
obvious tampering job. That's what you're telling me anyway.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking here?
He clearly got contacted the last day because it's pretty clear he wanted to come back. Like, you can't even blame him for this. He just got money thrown at him from Michigan and he left, and I can't blame him. It's the NCAA. There's no guidelines. It's a joke.
It's literally a joke. But so the big thing this morning was Matt Larson was on Hot Mic this morning. He had a whole hour reserved for Dom, so he had plenty of time to talk. And the big thing, everybody was on their edge of their seats. Is he going to announce an FBS move? Are they going to FBS? What's going on? So Dom asks the all-important question. Dom asked Matt Larson, has anyone from the Mountain West called you or Dr. David Cook about an FBS move? Matt's answer was no. That was the cold answer. So can we please, for the love of God, stop talking about the Mountain West BS and live and die with every update from what that podcast we listen to that has no basis in fact on Mountain West stuff? Just when NDSU gets that invite, they'll let us know.
Yep.
Like, they'll let us know when that happens. Until then, don't be the ride or die of, they got to go FBS. Is this the time to go FBS? It's a lot of false hope. Just let it go. It's okay. It'll happen when it happens.
And Matt Larson even said they want to play at the highest level, and he said that means going to FBS. So he clearly wants to. They're just waiting for the invite. So let's just enjoy our time in FCS while we're here, because winning championships it doesn't last forever.
As Ethan's sweatshirt indicates,
yeah.
That's just what you do. You win national titles here at NDSU. So we're going to transition to basketball. Before we play the highlights for both, we're going to bring our highlights back. So before we do that, just how nuts does this sound? The Bison basketball programs are 12-0 in conference play, because the Bison women went to St. Paul last night, beat St. Thomas off that high of beating the Jackrabbits. We'll talk about that later as well. They're 12-0 in conference play, and combined, they've won 21 games in a row.
Yep.
21 consecutive. The Bison women have won 16 consecutive. The men are working on a winning streak of their own. I mean, this is pretty incredible stuff that's going on here in Fargo. And all it took was a colossal football collapse for this to happen, apparently.
I said it last week. It softens the blow big time, especially after beating the Jackson women's, after how long it's been. And we got two contenders for the Summit League title here in Fargo. It's going to be fun to watch.
All right, so let's play the highlights, guys, for the men's basketball game versus St. Thomas. This was a game that we thought was going to be a big one, and it indeed was. So from the Shields Center, here we go. Markai Strickland goes to work on Ben Osterbond. He hits his patented fadeaway, give NDSU an early lead. So it's 3-0. Markai Strickland with the steal on the floor, to quote Stuart Scott, must be jelly because jam don't shake like that. And the Bison are up 5-0. Bison stay on the attack as Andy Stefanowicz hits the wing triple. Won't be the last we see of that. Then Travian Carson gets in on the fun from three. So he gets all three of these, and the Bison lead by 5. Now Tay Smith saves the possession here, and Travian Carson under the hoop for 2. Bison break the tie. It's 13-11 off a Tommy miss. Andy to the finish man, Emil Skuda, who gets behind the defense for 2. Now a 4-point Bison lead. Now Bison lead by 2, but Trayson Anderson wiggles past Carter Bjerke for 2. I think Havelka could have played better defense on that possession.
Just a tough finish overall.
Bison continue the punishment in the paint. Emil cooks Osterbahn under the basket on the blocks for 2, and the Herd regain the lead 21-20. Ethan Peters signed to visit Andy's room as Stefanowicz not only hits this triple, but hits another 3 on the next possession off some great ball movement by NDSU, and the lead is all of a sudden 9 for North Dakota State.
I think this is one of the best games he's played in his career so far, it's safe to say.
Riley Massey penetrates to Travion Carson, release, rotation, splash. It's a tie game with 30 seconds to go. Tommy's would lead by 1 off a missed free throw going to the locker room. But Tommy's lead by 2, but the Bison play volleyball on the glass where Flight 44 is cleared for landing as the Bison had 13 offensive boards in the game. Bison now lead by 2, but make it 5. Travion Carson fills it up from outside.
Just a spot-up shooter overall.
Amen to that. NDSU builds on a 2-point lead. Strickland, little float game to the rim for 2. And one of my favorite guys on this team, it's Tay Smith. And you know why it's Tay Smith? Because the ball goes up and out. Boom! Even Coach Richmond liked that one on the sideline. Now, next play here. Trayson Anderson, overpowers Ryan Dufall for 2. Anderson had 11 points in 20 minutes played due to foul trouble. Welcome to the Scuda and Fetty portion of the proceedings as Scuda overpowers Austin Hero for the end 1.
Part of a mob movie. That's his black guy.
Fetty inside dumps it off for Scuda for 2 as the rock fight goes on in Fargo. It's 55-52. Now Feddersen here takes Nolan Minasale to the cup for 2. Leads up to 5. More post presence for the Bison as Scuda. Right place, right time under the hoop for 2. You'll see a replay of it here, fellas. Just describe Neil Scuda for me, Peter, and how good he's been for this team off the bench.
I mean, him and Feddersen off the bench, so electric. They just bring a physical presence to the Bison.
Peter, I think the nearest post player for the Tommies was somewhere back in St. Paul as Feddersen throws it down unopposed to the basket. And that concludes the Scuda and Fetty show. Bison by 5 with 2 minutes and change to go as Carson scores his 16th point of the afternoon with that triple. Tommy's tried to trap DWT in the backcourt. Austin Hero plays defense like his brother and gives up the end 1 layup, and that was Damari's only made field goal of the game. St. Thomas gets one more look to tie. Nick Janowski has a good step back. Bison stay disciplined, stay down. Feddersen maybe gets a piece of it, and that 3 ball is an air ball. And the Bison are 6-0 in conference play for the first time since 2012-2013. So that was a heck of a basketball game. I mean, looking at the stats here after the game. Go back to us, please, guys, while you can. Sorry, I forgot to tell you that. So come back to us. Just look at the stat sheet here. Barely under 3,000 in attendance, so 29-54. Good crowd. Weather wasn't great, so the fact we got that much, I'll take that and run with it as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And looking at the stats here, Nolan Minasale is one of the best scorers assembly. I think he scores about 24, 25 a night. They held him to 16 points. He had 4 fouls. He was drawing charge like nobody's business. He was trying to, but he finally got called for one late in the game that had his 4th personal. So, I mean, pretty even game throughout. Again, the Bison didn't shoot the ball particularly great.
No.
They made 8 threes, which is good. The Tommy's hit 10. Travion Carson had 16. Emil Scuda off the bench with 11.
Yeah.
That's important stuff as well. I mean, if St. Thomas had any size, they would be a better basketball team because they don't have any post presence.
Yeah, like you said, the Bison dominated under the hoop. They had 34 points in the paint compared to St. Thomas's 20.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the key to the game. It's a really good sign when you don't shoot well and you beat a team like St. Thomas.
Yeah.
Because this game could have easily been for the 1 seed.
Could have been.
Yeah, and St. Thomas outshot them completely, but Markai Strickland.
But again, just to look at it, the Bison had 13 offensive rebounds. That's what won them. They took 13 more shots than St. Thomas did. And St. Thomas, they missed some big shots down. There's a couple missed threes that just did not fall for them. They were good looks, just wouldn't go down. The Bison led for 29 minutes and 32 seconds of a 40-minute basketball game.
Yeah,
that's pretty good stuff.
Pretty incredible.
That's pretty good stuff. I mean, so just looking at more things we have written down here. The Bison men, they're now ranked 20th in the mid-major poll. So again, I don't know how many mid-major conferences there are. I think there are at least 15 of them out there. There are a ton of them. The Bison are ranked 20th in that poll. They're ranked ahead of Northern Iowa was 21, Stephen F. Austin's 22, St. Thomas is now 23, Troy 24, and UT Martin or Ut Martin is 25. The next 6 teams ranked ahead of NDSU. McNeese is 19, Hawaii is 18, Hofstra 17, UC San Diego, they won 30 games a couple years ago. They're up at 16. Buffalo's 15. I said 6 because our friends at Illinois State, they're up there at 14 with our guy Mason Clabo, who somebody to our right knows how to play with Clabo. So just looking again, we'll just pull up the graphics too. I forgot to totally do that. So, I mean, what stands out? Like, when you look at those stats, what do you see there?
Well, the Bison, they took advantage of St. Thomas's weaknesses. I mean, like we said, the points in the paint, they dominated in the paint, and they had 14 more points, and points off turnovers was huge.
Yeah.
And you see the bench points was about even. Like,
about even.
Everything, these teams are about as even as it gets, except for St. Thomas, they don't have any big guys.
No bigs. That's their issue. I mean, the top performers quickly, too. Travion Carson, boy, he newcomer of the league, that's a possibility. 16 points, 6 boards, 3 steals in the win. Trayson Anderson, again, limited minutes because of foul trouble. 11 points, 9 boards, 4 of them were offensive rebounds. And Emil Skuda, finished dude off the bench, just continues to get better. Speaks fluent English, by the way. He impressed me. I appreciate that. When you can speak fluent English, I love it. 11 points, 2 rebounds. And what I remember him saying was like, you know, he played professional basketball in Finland. He's like, that's one of the biggest crowds I've ever played in front of.
Yeah,
can we do this every weekend? Every weekend? Can we get people in the building to watch these teams play? Because they are both impressive to watch.
It's fun to be a part of an atmosphere like that for a basketball game. Like, we're used to it for football, but basketball, it makes just as much of an impact when you're on defense.
Yeah, so again, before we play the highlights of women's basketball, because we're going to get to them right now, but before we play them, just want to say this. They are number 2 in the mid-major top 25 poll. Did I just say that? Yeah, I did say that. That's unbelievable how good they've been so far this year moving forward. I mean, it's the highest ranking in the history of the NDSU basketball program. That includes the men and the women. They were ranked, because the men's highest ranking was 4. And that was the year they beat Oklahoma in 2013-2014 season. So
pretty good team.
That wasn't bad. I mean, this is a historic team we're watching here with the Bison women.
And I think the fans are taking notice. I think the average women attendance might be higher than the men at this point. I don't know that for sure.
It could have got to be the 1990s where the Bison women in Division II were they were the best team in Division II all the time. The men were okay. They were never great.
Yeah.
But they're really good right now. So, speaking of the women, let's play the highlights now for the Bison women at South Dakota State. Haven't won there since 2010 as Avery Coonan wins the tip for the Bison. And Marissa Frost is going to break the ice. Can she break the ice up here? That'd be great. She breaks it and scores the first points of the game with this running layup for the NDSU. Now the featured matchup in this game, Avery Coonan versus Brooklyn Meyer. Coonan wins this round with a jumper in the key. Now watch her inside, and Summit Lake Logo, that's kind of her shot in the mid-range, knocks that one down. But the Jackrabbits would keep the Bison at arm's length for the most of the first half as Emily Fox will get this triple to go. And it's 18-13. Later in the corner, back come the Bison. Avery Coonan. Tough turner on the lane, gets it to go over Brooklyn Meyer. And so why is NDSU better this year? 2 words, Peter.
Jossie Schiller.
Attaboy. Bingo, as she cans this 3. And the Herd lead by 4 in Brookings. Final stages of the first half, though. Jack's able to get a halftime lead. Emily Fox kind of falls into this 3, kind of the way her shot works. She knocks it down. So the Jacks lead by 3 going into the locker room. But Bison turn the tables. They lead by 4. Katie Veska, she beats Molly Lenz to the basket. It's a 2-point game in the third quarter. You knew this was a Bison kind of day when this type of stuff happens. Ball's on the floor, off of Avery Coonan's knee. She wins the battle, wins against 2 Jacks, kicks the ball to Schiller, who hits it to Frost for the wide open triple.
Gets an amazing extra pass.
And then the Bison pour it on as Kraswinski on the wing. Deep 3, she'll hit all 3 of these, and NDC leads by 11 in Brookings. Jacks are out to 10 third quarter points. I think it's fair to say, fellas, Avery Coonan has inside track for Player of the Year as she hits this and one to just pour it on in Brookings, but the Jacks didn't go away quietly as Emily Fox hits the 3, and the lead is 9. But again, January 17th, 2026 was a day that will live in NDSU women's basketball history forever as Madison Mathewitz misses the 3, and the Bison beat the Jacks for the first time since 2015 and the first time in Brookings since 2010. My God, that was impressive by what they did on Saturday.
Yeah, it's one of the all-time, like you said, all-time days in women's basketball history here at NDSU. Probably an all-time day in NDSU athletics.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, to get that, like we talked about in football when they lost to the Jacks 5 years in a row. This is like unprecedented territory. It was 11 years they haven't beaten them, so huge.
Yeah. We have a funny graphic. We'll show that in a second. But I just want to read a quote from a Jackrabbits supporter on Twitter. I'm not going to mention who you are because I don't want to embarrass you. So the Jackrabbits have won 67 consecutive conference games. That's ridiculous. I know that's like UConn level territory, how good that is. But the guy said 67 in a row is absurd and should be celebrated. I just hate that it was ended against those guys. My question is, who else was going to break it? South Dakota? They're not good anymore. They're okay. They're not great. Jory's been building for this team for 4 years to win this kind of game. So the fact, I get you don't want to lose to your Dakota marker rival, but if you're going to lose to anybody, at least it's to a team you respect. At least, I think.
Yeah, it's better to lose, like to reference football. South Dakota State had a 33-game home winning streak going. Well, they lose to the Bison. Would you rather lose to a team you respect or Indiana State that you lost to the next week?
Guys, can you pull up that video in the back of me circling that guy and the horns down? Can we show that quickly, if you can get to it? I'm curious if you have it, because I think it's funny if you do have it. Just circling, yeah. It's like the horns down thing. I'm like, seriously, all the respect, like at least have some respect for us. We beat you on your floor. Like, come on. Have some respect for us.
There's no class. I mean, we would expect that out of UND fans. I mean, that's just what they do.
That's typical.
South Dakota State, you guys have had success in your sports. At least have some class. Now, I'm not going to act like all Bison fans don't do ears down and all that garbage, but let's just, we respect each other. Let's not do horns down anymore.
Yeah, again, the last time they won in Brookings, oh, these are bad photos to look at. I'm 5 in that picture. I was in kindergarten. You two were in preschool. I mean, good God, look at those two guys. I mean, that guy in the middle looks pretty good, but I don't know about you two. I mean, Peter, I have some questions with your fashion decisions there, and I think you could play for the Twins right now, but because nobody else will. But I mean, that's how long it's been since they won in Brookings. That's crazy, in my opinion. But so again, just looking at the stats, they won the game by 8 points. But it's not like the Bison played particularly great. They shot 43% from the field. They made 30% of their threes, which is good. I mean, 17 of 21 from the free throw lines. They made their free throws. It was even in the paint, pretty even in points off turnovers. Only a couple bench points between the two sides. It was just, one was just a little bit better. And like in the third quarter, they held the Jacks to 10 points. That's why they won this game.
Mm-hmm. It was down the stretch. They hit the 3-pointers that they had to make, and that it shows the Jacks didn't shoot the 3-ball that well. And yeah, free throws, points in the paint, points off turnovers, like basically dead even. And we knew it was going to come down to that. It was going to come down to hitting big shots at the end, and the Bison did that. Yeah,
and in top performers for against South Dakota State, Coonan, 26 points, 13 rebounds, 6 of 7. Again, brace yourselves. She was named the Summit League Quick Start Peak Performer of the Week for the 3rd straight week and the 6th time this year. I mean, Brooklyn Meyer's a great player, but I think Coonan's the front runner player of the year right now.
Yeah, especially if the Bison get the 1 seed, I think you have to do it. The Bison got to kind of, I don't know if they have to run the table. They at least got to go 16-2, 17-1. But if she keeps playing like this in big games, it's going to be way too hard to not vote for her.
Right. Jocelyn Schiller, again, why is this team better? Peter said it. It's Jocelyn Schiller. 14 points, 7 rebounds. She has 6 of 7 at the line. Marissa Frost, that driving ability she has, 14 points, 2 boards, 3 of 3 on free throws. Their stars showed up when they had to show up, and that's what impresses me about this team is because if Jocelyn's not on this team, they're not winning that game. She can break the press by herself. She gets to the line. She does all the little things right, and that's what makes this team so much better than it was last year.
Yeah, and those two's ability to get to the free throw line is unmatched. I mean, if you can get to the free throw line and you shoot, what did they shoot, 81% from the free throw line, you're going to win a lot of games.
And then just last night, they went and beat St. Thomas in St. Paul, the first time the Bison have played at the new Penny Anderson Arena there in St. Paul. Great facilities the way it looked on TV. Too bad nobody showed up to the game, but oh well, it's a new arena. I get it. 75-66. The score is going to lie to you a little bit because I think St. Thomas played them closer than what the score indicates. The net ranks apparently saw that because the Bison are ranked 44 in the net rankings right now. The Jacks are at 42.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. So UND, so the Jacks played UND, who I believe is in the 300s, if I'm not mistaken there.
Yes.
The Bison beat a St. Thomas team that's like a game or two below. I think St. Thomas is a game below 500. I think they're 2 games below 500 now. So you're going to punish a team for winning a game against a better opponent than South Dakota State, who played a worse opponent on the road. I mean, they beat them by 55, so I get it. But like, come on. They beat a better opponent. Don't punish them that much. But I don't know how I don't get the net ranking format or how the formula works. So it is what it is. But again, focusing on the stats itself, they did not shoot the ball great. The Bison shot 42.3%. So 22 made field goals on 52 attempts. From 3, they made 5 the whole night. Molly Lenz went 1 for 5 from 3. They made their free throws at least 84% from the line. St. Thomas shot 67% from the line. where St. Thomas owned him was in the points in the paint. They had 42 points in the paint to the Bison 28 points in the paint because they were taking the point guard on Jossie. Jossie's a good defender, but she's not big enough inside to pound down there, so they got 42 points in the paint. Bison forced 13 points off turnovers, but they got scored on the bench. I think Peter, you said this too, is that they kind of, I won't say they overlooked St. Thomas, but at the same time, you're coming off the emotional high that was playing at South Dakota State, so I get it. But I wish they would play a little bit better than that. That's me.
I think we kind of felt this coming, a little bit of a hangover. I don't know if we expected it to be this close, because like you said, a 9-point game, it felt like a way closer game. But we mentioned the free throw percentage. This team, they get to the free throw line, they get there a lot, and they make their shots. And that was the difference in this game. You see the 83.9% compared to 66.7%. That's pretty good. But yeah, they got outplayed. No
doubt. I mean, St. Thomas, Alyssa Sand has been a really good player for them. 20 points, 4 of 7 from the line, 8 of 15 from the field, and 38 of 40 minutes played. She was all over the place. Jada Hood, she had 14 points. Laura Haig had 14 points. Michaela Werner, missed my stats up. Michaela Werner had 14 points. They had 3 scorers score in the teens, so they were hanging around with NDSU because the Bison got up by about 14 early. St. Thomas got within about 5, and then Bison were able to pull away late. If that game had 5 more minutes to it, the Tommies could have won that game. They were in that game. So when the Tommies come back to Fargo later this year, that's going to be another good game.
Yeah, I think we keep harping on it's like the Jackrabbit hangover. I think
that's fair.
I think when the Bison play these next couple of games, I think they're going to get back on track. But it's really hard to come off a game where you're playing the top dog in the conference, and then you got to go play St. Thomas, who's, I don't know where they are in the net rankings, but they're 254. So that's not great, but they definitely need to play better.
Yeah, well, to break down some more plays from the St. Thomas win and the Jackrabbit win in Brookings from the women, here's Peter with his King of the Court segment. Peter, it's all yours.
Hey, welcome back. Week 2 of King of the Court. And Grant, I want to say I know a thing or two about head-to-head.
Yeah.
The team that wins, they should make it and be higher in their rankings. Well, we're going to go first. The first segment is the men's, and we're going to get right into it. Makai Strickland's going to attack the screen, get a deflection. Trayvon Carson's going to get it, and it's just a breakaway jam for Strickland. Look how high he goes. Now, the second clip. Emil Skuda is in the corner, and he sees it, and he's going to drive. Power dribble, go up for 2, off the back, boom, and 2. Defensively, Andy's going to drop back into help after the screen that is Minnesali's range in the post. And Tay Smith's going to rotate over in a 2-1 zone. Boom. Stefanovic with the steal. Now, another steal from Carson. Now, watch Strickland at this moment after the dump pass to Feddersen. He's going to seal off his man for a Feddersen two-handed slam. Now, coming off of this, Damari had a kind of a bad game going 0 for 9, but if you watch this clip, you're going to understand why he's a marquee component of this team. He's going to escape the double team. Feddersen's going to seal off his man, and 1, NDSU takes the lead. It takes a 5-point advantage. Now this clip, we're going to run it back 2 times. Feddersen's going to get the pin the screen. Look at how many Tommies are in the paint right there. And then Andy's going to move up to the top of the key, swish. Now we're going to watch it through one more time. Feddersen's going to get the screen from Carson. He's going to get it on the baseline. Look how fast his pass is for a catch and shoot triple. Now, moving into the women's side. This first play that we're going to talk about is crucial to the game plan. Jossie's going to get it at the wing, get it to Kunin from the post, and a back screen that was going to be free from Frost. It misses the layup, but it's fine. Now going into this, NDSU wanted to front Meyer so much so that it allowed for a backside help and for a steal and a rip from Frost. This is what I like to call an opposite flex motion. It's going to be awkward at a moment, but you're going to see the screen from Lenz that frees up Kunin for a wide open layup that she converts for 2. I like to call this play pick your poison. It's a screen from Kunin, and it's going to see a hesitation from Jossie. who converts it for an and one and frees up a little space so that you can get that layup off. Now this play, it is a Carrington Ash, our 6th Woman of the Year in the Summit. She's going to get all of this space right over here, and she's just going to go to work. And we're going to see it dribble, dribble, dribble. Ooh, fake. Hakeem skyhook. Not skyhook, but Hakeem dream shake. Now we're going to see this. She's going to look, AK is going to look for this look from the lens up there, but Jossie's going to be in the corner for a catch and shoot 3 from Jossie. Now this Molly lens steal and hustle leads to a Carrington Ash layup, but this was crucial to the hustle that both of these teams played. Now this play I like to call the dagger. Look at how many bodies are in the paint that leaves Lens wide open on the wing for this three-pointer. I mean, she hits this. I'm surprised she didn't hit the Steph night. You know, it's just some of these crucial plays that ended up crucial into this moment. Now, I want to get into this topic of what Jossie brings to this team defensively. It's not, oh, it's just another great point guard. No. Jossie brings so much energy, and she brings so much, not just defensively, but offensively. I mean, being that floor general that Jory wants, but defensively, I mean, Grant hit on it. She picks up defenders from the free throw line. She takes in screens like no guard I've seen. She communicates defensively, and she interrupts plays by getting screens, or by getting steals, deflections, anything you want to call it. And being at the Bison games, you can see how she commands the huddle, and you can see how the ability to draw fouls for her is just straight remarkable from an offensive side of the. It's not like Shea Gilgeous where it's like flop, kick in a row. No, it is driving, jump stop, go up, draw the contact, go to the line, convert the 2. And Grant and I, we've touched on it. She's struggled from the three-point line, but it doesn't matter when you have Lens just being that sharpshooter off the bench. Like, there's a lot of pieces into this women's team, but Kunin and Schiller, that two-woman game, it is remarkable, and it is smooth and effective for the NDSU women's team. Bringing you guys back to Grant and Ethan.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate that. So going to the standings now, we're looking at the men's standings right here. Bison men out in front, 6-0 in conference, 134 in the net rankings. They're 20th, the highest ranked mid-major team, highest ranked summer league team in the mid-major poll. There you go. They're at 134. St. Thomas at 117 in the net ranking, but 23rd in the mid-major poll. UND, they're sneaking up on people. They're 10-12 overall, 4-2 in league. They have a win over South Dakota State, so the Jacks are in 4th. South Dakota playing with 7 healthy guys. They're sitting there at 5. And then Denver, NDSU's opponent tonight, and on the men's side, they're 9-11 overall, 2-3 in the league. Number 1 offense in the Summer League, though, so that's a dangerous thing in Hamilton Gymnasium tonight. Omaha, again, defending league champs, but again, the transfer portal can be the envy for some teams, and for Omaha, they are definitely on the wrong end of that. Kansas City at 8. Again, they're going to fire Marvin Menzies after this year. Why? I have no idea. Then ORU bring up the rear, 0-5 and 5-15 overall in league. On the women's side, same again. Kind of a carbon copy. Bison women are on top here, 6-0 also in conference, 17-2 in conference. We have already beat this over the head. They're number 2 in the mid-major poll. The Jacks are at 5 in the mid-major poll, but 2 spots above them in the net rankings. Make sense. They're 15-5 overall. South Dakota, they're coming back to where they used to be. They're at 14-5. ORU is sitting at 11-8. Then after number 4, it's
not good.
How do I say this nicely? The caboose of the league is 5 through 9. Kansas City, St. Thomas, Denver. St. Thomas is better than their record indicates. They're a pretty decent team. Kansas City, we saw them up here in Fargo. They were good for about 7 minutes and then kind of collapsed. And then somebody has to be that 8 seed against the Bison Jackrabbit, 1 seed in March, North Dakota, and Omaha. Why is Jossie and Fargo not in Grand Forks fighting Hawks fans? I don't know. I think the standings tell the tale for me.
Yeah, you can draw a massive line.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I think on the men's side, I think people don't realize this league is deeper. I think it's deeper than it was last year.
Yeah.
Because like Omaha, Oral Roberts, and Kansas City, I don't think they're contenders.
No.
I think when South Dakota gets healthy, I think they're a contender. Denver can score with anybody. That's going to give them a chance. And then the Jacks, NDSU, UND maybe will slide up a bit. St. Thomas is obviously right there, but you hammered out the women's side is not good down the stretch. I think Bison are going to be sitting pretty good at the end of the year in the tournament.
Yeah, before we go to our hot takes for this week, the ones that I did get one right. Should throw a parade. I got one right.
Yep.
Bison cement themselves as the top team. They beat both the Jacks and the Tommies. And then if Jack wants to play the buzzer, I guess I'm not against it. Tay Smith makes 3 trays in each game. Tay, why, man? I love you. Don't do this to me. He made 2 threes against the Jacks and 1 against St. Thomas. I said Jocelyn scored 20 points. They got South Dakota State just scored 14. Fine. I'll take that. To the takes that are usually right. That's Ethan's. What do you got this week, pal?
Yeah, it's good to be back on the takes. It's been like a month since I've gotten to do them. I got NDSU will be the #1 seed in both men's and women's basketball. This is probably the toughest one of them all because the men's pretty deep, and women's, they got to probably beat the Jacks again and get this done. So
yeah.
It'll be a tough one. #2, the Bison are going to win the Summit League in either men's or women's or both.
You're hedging your bets.
That's giving myself some leeway there. NDSU women's basketball will win 15-plus conference games this year. I think this is safe to say. At this point, the conference is not deep. If they beat the Jacks, this is certainly to happen, so see where that goes. The next one, NDSU men's, they sweep their road trip starting tonight against Denver. They play South Dakota and Oral Roberts as well. This is going to be tough. Oral Roberts is better than what the record says. South Dakota's playing about as good as you can with, like, 2 guys.
Yeah, true.
And then NDSU women's basketball will continue their winning streak for at least 8 more games. It's at 15 right now. That would get it into 23. And then after that, it's the Jackrabbits. I'm not going to risk my pick there. So.
No. In fact, I mentioned this with the women's basketball team. They've got 8-0 on the road. That's their best road start since 1996, 97, when Amy Ruley was still coaching here. So what Jory's doing is nothing short of impressive. I mean, like Jackrabbit fan, UND fan, you just got to say that's impressive. That's all I'm asking. Just quick reaction. #1 seed, possible. I don't want to say it's going to happen because the Bison still have to play through the Bison men have to play the rest of their conference schedule, and there's no picnics on their way through the end of their schedule there. Women, I feel good about it. Again, depending on how tiebreakers shake out, they'll likely be the one. We'll see how that shakes out. Women's basketball, again, if they win the rest of their games and lose to the Jacks, you got that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's a less than 50% chance they do this. Not because I don't think it's possible, but they've always struggled with this road trip. They've always either beaten Denver but lost ORU, or lost to Denver but beaten ORU on the road. In South Dakota, even though nobody goes to their games in South Dakota, it's still a game that they always struggle to play. Again, South Dakota, may run out of bodies, so they have a good chance there, but you never know. Bison women, they should win the next 8 games. I mean, they're just the best team in this league right now. Sorry, Jackrabbit fans, it's just the truth. They're the best team in the Summit League right now, plain and simple. So I think we'll get at least 3 of those right. I think over 500 is good enough.
Which is good for hot takes at this point.
Yeah, because mine are terrible and yours are better than mine. I don't think that's even a question. Bracketology. Again, we'll update this every week at this point. Bison men right now are I want to say penciled in, but they'll be a 14, 15. It won't be a 16. The resume's better than a 16 line. Have them going against Houston, who went to the Final Four, went to the national championship game last year.
Should have won too.
Fell to Florida. And then look at the bracket here. North Carolina, like some blue bloods. North Carolina's in here. Southern Cal's in here. Illinois was a mainstay in here. Wilmington's always been a tournament regular. Villanova's back with Kevin Willard as their head coach, and George Mason. Not quite the 06 George Mason Patriots, but still a pretty good team. This is the Oklahoma City Regional. They play at the Paycom Center in OKC. Again, I don't want to say anything outlandish about the basketball team right now, but it's almost like a Duke situation in 19 where Houston's just the better team. It's just trying not to embarrass yourselves.
Yeah, it's just fun to see a small school that we support play these big colleges. This would be the equivalent to the Bison and going to Eugene and playing Oregon, like they're going to in a couple of years. Yeah. And this is such a fun bracket because if you somehow pull off the impossible, you're playing North Carolina.
Yes, please.
That is insane. And then Villanova's in this bracket too. You're not getting that far, but it's still pretty fun.
Yeah, I like looking at the Lexington region, not because the Bison are playing NC State, but who's that 15 up there? That's Western Illinois. Again, if they were in the Summit League, there is no way in heck they would be anywhere sniffing the NCAA tournament if they were still in the Summit League. So good for them. They get to go play Caitlin Clark's alma mater in Iowa. The Gophers are in there as a 10 seed. They're actually, I think they're ranked like the top 20, I want to say, in the net rankings. So, again, I think they're hedging their bets based on the rest of their schedule, which is, it's the Big Ten, so it's daunting. But them as a 10, Kentucky's in there. It's their regional, so they're in there as the 3, and High Point's in there at 14. It's like something my dad would say in practice. You're practicing interceptions, high point, but oh well. So again, Bison women, they could win a game or two if they're an 11. I don't know how good Kentucky's a 3 seed. So again, they're a blue blood of college basketball, but you beat NC State, anything's possible here.
Yeah, and I kind of want to hammer on this. If you want to be an 11 seed, I think you have to go at least 16-2 in conference play, and you have to make the title game.
Correct.
You have to play the Jackson the title game.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you win the tournament, you're in no matter what. But I think we're kind of banking on them getting an at-large bid if they don't get there. You can't lose to like a Kansas City or a Denver or Omaha. Like if they would have lost that game yesterday, that would have been catastrophic for their seeding. But yeah, this team could easily win a game. It'd be cool to see them go on a run.
Yeah, the Bison men are facing a familiar face in Denver that Dave won't yell at us for this, but it's our fault that he's in the Summit League because we said we'd fire him and bring in Bergstrasser. No offense, Dave, it was an April Fool's joke, and I'm not going to go into the reasons why because then Ryan Pro will yell at us. We're not going to do that. So NDSU and Denver 2-3 in the league. Don't let that deceive you. They're a very good basketball team. I think look at their offensive numbers, and Peter, you can talk about this too. Is number 1 in points per game, 84.3. Number 1 in field goal percentage. They overtook St. Thomas. They're about 50% from the field. They shoot the 3 ball better than anybody else. Their free throw percentage is the best. Why is this Denver offense so good in year 1 under Bergstrasser?
So I think you guys touched on it. Denver's the best shooting team in the conference. I mean, 49% from the field, 38% from 3, which is kind of unheard of.
That's pretty good.
And dang near close to 80% from the charity strike. It's kind of like it's more efficient scoring, but going down the line defensively, I mean, 85 points per game, that's terrible. That is irresponsible for a Summit League. And you're not going to win many games in the Summit League, but honestly, the most concerning part about Denver is they do not like to pass the rock. They are the worst assisting team in the Summit League. So this will pose challenges to NDSU, a lot of one-on-one defensively, and a lot of efficient play calls too. But it's going to be a challenge defensively for NDSU to kind of contain the 3 guys: Carson Johnson, Jeremiah Burke, and Zane Nelson, who I ran the numbers, 55.6 points per game, and that eats a chunk of 65% of the shot pie and the scoring pie for Denver University. So they need to lock down that trio, and nobody else on that roster can score. So it'll be an interesting game, but I'm going to slide the rock back to you, Grant. On that.
Jeremiah Burke, Bison transfer. He transferred from NDSU to Denver. I mean, Jeremiah Burke was just kind of on our bench for 2 years. He never played, which never really made sense to me. He's a JUCO All-American. He came to NDSU and didn't do anything. So apparently, Bergie's got the secret sauce because he's now scoring 15 points a game. Zane Nelson scoring 13 again. Carson Johnson, one of the old Dragons he brought over from Moorhead, 18.5 points per game. Where they're not great, though, they give up the most points, 85.1 a game. They're 8th in rebounds per game, so they're very St. Thomas-y when it comes to how they play defense, and they only have about 5 steals a game. Travion Carson averages that by himself almost per game. Yeah,
so. This is going to be a highest scoring game. The line is set at 158 points.
That's high.
That's a lot.
That's high.
And I think I'd take the over. The fact that Denver averages 84 a game and they average give up 85 to a Bison team that's playing pretty good offense at the moment. And the Bison definitely are deeper. They like Peter hammered on it. If you lock down those 2 guys, you're probably set to win this game. But I would bank on a high scoring game tonight.
No doubt. And go ahead, Peter.
Oh, and my last key of this game is you need to dominate the boards and limit possessions for the Pioneers, because as we've seen, if you give them opportunities on those possessions or getting extra possessions, they're most likely going to score. Probably 1 out of 2 possessions. So that's my last key and my last takeaway. But they need to limit the possessions for the Denver Pioneers. Yeah,
going to ORU now. They're 0-5 in the league, but here's the thing with ORU. The Bison have never played well at ORU. No. Never. They've never blown them out or just led wire to wire. There's always something funky that happens when they play at Oral Roberts. Yeah, they're 0-5 in the league. They've lost 8 games in a row. They're 5-15 overall. They gave the Bison a heck of a scare here earlier this year. It took a Feddersen tip-in to win the game. Again, the stats aren't going to wow you. They're 8th in points per game, 6th in, they're bottom half in defense, 77 points allowed per game. They're last in field goal percentage. They're last in 3-point percentage. They're 2nd in free throw percentage, thank God. That's their one saving stat. They're 7th in rebounding. They're 5th in steals. They don't do any one thing well, but again, it took what? The Bison, it took ORU to have like what, 4 players foul out for them to finally put them away, and Namaguchi Williams in there as their big rebounder guy. Feddersen and Anderson had problems with him. Ty Harper is our leading scorer. He's just about 16 a game. Ofri Neve is a good player. Connor Dow is a good player for ORU. I mean, they have pieces here. I don't know why they're 5-15. They're better than what their record is.
Yeah. Well, and then the numbers will tell you that the Bison should win this game by 20.
They
and
should,
then
but
they
again,
probably won't. It's like
Summit League's weird.
It's like when the football team goes down to Carbondale. It doesn't matter how good Southern Illinois is. It's going to be an ugly game. It's going to be 20-10. That's just how it is.
Got any keys to this one, Peter?
My keys to this game are, the only bright spot I've seen in this offense, it's Ty Harper, which Grant touched on, averaging 16, dang near close, 16 points a game. But in bold, I have in my notes is NDSU, and Leif touched on it also, NDSU should be aware of a trap game. The only really good stat I've seen from Oral Roberts is number 1 in attendance in the Summit League. And even though they're having a lackluster year, they have a passionate fan base, so it will be an interesting game to watch.
Partially because it's a bigger arena. Maybe Center's a big arena, so there's a lot of seats you can fill in there. Again, I'm just kind of going through things fast, but this is not going to be a game the Bison, again, they'll roll the helmets out line. They cannot roll the ball and expect to win this game, because I think Dave knows they struggle when they go down there. So I'm interested to see. Again, this is a veteran team, so I trust them to keep the blinders on and go forward, but it's not going to be an easy one to win, that's for sure.
And it's the longest road trip in the Summit League.
Correct.
It's like, I hate to keep referencing Carbondale, but that's a long trip, just like in football. But road trips are always tough. When you go down to like Brookings, it's not as far. You go to Grand Forks, it's an hour. This is a long trip. It's going to be hard.
It's the weird, because everybody likes that they have like the travel partners, the Bison and the Jacks, you go to the same place, or St. Thomas and UND, just something like that. I think it's NDSU and UND, the South Dakota schools. I think it's like Kansas City and Omaha. Like St. Thomas is the outlier because they're the newest team in the league.
Yeah.
But like, it's the weirdest road trip of the year. You got to go to Colorado and then go to Oklahoma. It's just weird. Everything about the road trip is weird every time they do it.
Yeah,
so. It is what it is. And the women, they're playing South Dakota here on Saturday. Again, the Bison women, they are 1, 2, and 3 in majority of stats. They're 4th in three-point percentage. Again, the Bison have the pieces to shoot the ball well. They just haven't shot it well. The shots isn't going down. Like they're getting good looks. The shots will start falling. But again, the only stat they're bottom 4. They're I wouldn't say bottom 4. They're in the bottom half in of steals per game. They have 8 per game. I mean, they're good everywhere else. They score the most points. They allow the second fewest. They shoot the ball at the highest clip. They're 4th in three-point percentage. They're number 2 at the line. Josie Show helps out a lot with that because she's really good at the free throw line. South Dakota, they've been better than expected, I would say, for sure. They score 74 a game. They give up the fewest so that they can play defense. But where they're not great is scoring the ball in terms of field goal percentage and threes. They're 6th in the conference in both those statistics. But again, number 1 at the free throw line, number 1 in rebounding, but they're 6th in steals. So pretty close. Do you have any notes on this one, Peter?
So some of the notes I have for this is huge game at the Shack, Pack the Shack, and it's going to be Schiller and Frost versus Angelina. It's Robles and Molly Joyce. I think it's the best guard play in the Summit League, and this is going to be a huge backcourt matchup between these gals. USD is the best rebounding team in the Summit, but NDSU shuts down rebounding attacks, as we've seen through the year. And honestly, I think there'll be a lot of matchup questions during this game, and I'm kind of excited to see who's going to pair up against who. And it's going to be interesting to see how Coonan will respond after a monster game in Brookings, and then kind of a hangover game in St. Thomas. And my last piece, this will be another test for NDSU to not only further their lead in conference ball, but for a chance to get an at-large bid, which I think is crucial through these next few games, and even at the Jacks, and now facing USD. So a very good chance for an at-large bid. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I think again, South Dakota's a good team. Don't get me wrong. The Bison are the better team.
Yeah.
It's in their building. It's on a weekend, so students should be there. Thank God. Let's hope students are there. But this would be probably the best game they get until the Jacks come back in February.
Yeah, and USD, like you said, they're not as good as the Bison statistically or like matchups wise. It's just a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Like that's a good basketball program. I mean, they were in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
How many? 3 years ago maybe.
Yeah.
this is going to be a good game. I would expect the Bison to be on their A game, especially after a not great performance, and they're coming back home. Should be a great crowd. I'm excited for this game.
All right, we're going to do this now because we haven't had a chance to do it. Our end of season awards for Bison football. Yep. We'll go through this. I don't say fast, but it's a little faster than we usually do. My MVP, I'm just going to say Logan Kopp. He was the heart and soul of this team this year. And when we lost that game to Dakota State, I felt worse for him and your MVP, which is Bryce Lance. Yes. I mean, those are the two guys. Those are the two team captains. They bled green and gold, and so. Leader on defense, leader on offense, I think those are two fair selections.
Yeah, and it's two guys that turned down NIL money to come back.
Yes.
And you take those two off the field, it's a whole different ball game. And I picked Bryce Lance just because it's like the offense. You take him off the field, you don't know who you're throwing to at this, like for number one guy. And Logan Kopp, I mean, he didn't have the numbers this year, but if you take him off the field, it's going to be clear that he's missing.
Correct.
It's two guys that just, you said it, bleed green and gold.
Yeah, offensive player of the year, we have the same guy, so I'm not going to hold it back. It's Marika Penu for both. I mean, I think you can explain this better than I can. Marika had one of the greatest seasons of Bison running backs ever had here.
Yeah, he had 20 touchdowns. He had 1,000 rushing yards in only 13 games, which we thought he was going to get 1,000 because they were going to play 16 games, and he wasn't the John Crockett-like, but it was like, when's the last time the Bison had a running back that scored 20 touchdowns?
Yeah.
When they got inside the 5, they were scoring because they had Marika Penu.
Defensive player of the year, same guy again. We had Donovan Woolen again. I guess just how good he was at linebacker this year. Probably should have had a first-team all-conference linebacker.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there.
Kind of a joke that he wasn't, but he's one of the rare talents where you have a playmaker on defense. He can play the ball like a defensive back, but he can plug up the middle like a defensive tackle almost. He's just that athletic, and he's that good of a player. I think this dude could play receiver if he even wanted to.
Hey, I wouldn't be against it if he did.
Yeah.
Our most improved award, I think we differed on this. Mm-hmm. I said Matthew Stenbrotten for mine. He's a defensive. Yeah, he's the guy who I'm happy came back because it was Toby and Nene, but then you have a guy like this coming back. Like I feel really good where Matthew Stenbrotten's headed this next year. He's dark horse up for defensive player of the year in the conference, I think. I mean, he was so good the back half of last year. I'm excited to see what he's got.
Well, in that UND game, I mean, those last two drives that UND had, I mean, he had the batted ball on third down, and UND decided to punt. And Northern Iowa and St. Thomas, he was a force. Obviously, Illinois State didn't get to the quarterback a ton, but he's going to get his chance this year with Toby and Nene leaving. And then my most improved, I got Jaquise Alexander. I picked this before he left. Wish he would have stayed, but. I mean, this guy as a redshirt freshman was probably the top corner on the team.
Yeah.
Then the last 2 years, he kind of faded off, kind of lost his spot on the depth chart. Comes back and has a monster year this year. And like I said, if he stays, he's the cornerback one. And he's going to Delaware. We're not going to harp on that, but he had a good year.
Yeah. Offensive newcomer of the year. It's no surprise. It's Reese Kessel for both of us. Yep. I mean, we win. You're going. Who's the big tight end going to be? We don't really know. We think it's Gabe Cunningham, or if I don't know if Williams could have, if Carson Williams could have a big year at tight end. It was Reese Kessel in spades in that department.
Yeah, he was. I was surprised to see him in person. His size, I didn't know he was that big because seeing him when Fargo North and Fargo South would play each other, I didn't really notice it as much. This dude's a stud, and he's only going to be a sophomore next year. He's a threat in the passing game. I think his blocking is going to improve as the years go on, but you talk about coming into a year next year where your receivers are kind of unknown a little bit. This is where he can step into that role and be a top passing threat.
Yeah, defensive newcomer there again, Sam Option. We both went Taylor and Edie on this one. They're loaded in the safety room.
Yep.
Givens, Crumby, Will Stile, Edie is the other guy coming back. He had a couple picks in the back half of the year. He's going to get better throughout the season. He could be up for an all-conference selection at some point, too, because he's been all over the place back half of the year.
If there's a position where they can afford to have an injury, this is the
It'd
spot.
Be safety.
Taylor Edie and Will Stile. I mean, that's the duo going. That's going to be the duo going down to Eugene when they play Oregon in a couple years.
Sure about that?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Taylor Edie had 4 picks in the last 3 games. He had an awesome end to his season. I'm excited to see him.
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Offensive player to watch out for. I'm going Jackson Williams. Now, I think that may not be a surprise because of how good he was last year in the kick return game, but can he blossom into that number 1 receiver? Because Mekhi Collins is back next year. He was kind of that number 3 receiver. I think Williams, he's a better player than Mekhi Collins is, and that's something against Mekhi Collins because Mekhi Collins is more of your typical, he's 6'4", he's 215, he's built like a wide receiver. He's got all that going, but I think Jackson Williams is in for a good year.
Yeah, and then a similar situation here at receiver, I got Cade Osterman. Like you said, Mekhi Collins and Jackson Williams, those are your top two. And now, when you're in a passing down, you got to have three receivers. Who's that guy going to be? I think it's going to be Cade Osterman.
Yeah.
Maybe a slot receiver, possession catching kind of guy. Who's going to replace Rajah Nelson? That's kind of the question. He's got a bigger build than Rajah Nelson. Another guy you could throw into that mix is Isaiah St. Romain, but
yeah.
I think Osterman's in for a big year. He came from Minnesota for a reason. I think he's going to be a good player.
Yeah, and then our defensive player to watch, I'm going Alex Elliott. No, you didn't see Elliott last year because I hurt in fall camp, but the guy from Minnesota, he looked pretty good in his first couple of practices. Then he tore his shoulder, his labrum in his shoulder, and they shut him down for the year. They probably would have liked to have him in the playoff run looking back because they didn't have any healthy linebackers by the end of the year, but I think he's due for a big year again. He didn't play much at Minnesota. He didn't play much here. So why are you going against a guy who never played? Well, it's because what this guy has. He's got the skills. This guy's seen him play the game. I trust him. He's going to probably end up starting at either the Mike or the Will linebacker.
Yep.
He's going to be a really good player. Just mark my words. He will be a good player.
Yeah, I'm sticking in the same position group. I'm going with Peter Haugo, going with the homer pick.
You're kidding.
Got to do it. But Gavin Sell is probably going to be the middle linebacker, and Alex Elliott's probably going to replace he's going to be in the rotation, and then Donovan Woolen. The Bison like to rotate linebackers. They didn't, like you said, they didn't get to do that this year because they didn't have the depth. Mm-hmm. This year, I think they do. I think Peter gets in the mix. I think he's going to have a good year. I think he's going to start not this next year, but the year after. But I think he's in for a big year.
If he's still here, of course. Which you have to ask everybody at this point, no matter who
Which
it is.
Which is sad. It sucks.
All right, we're going to close with 5 quick questions. We asked for questions on Twitter. Dave Richard gave us 5 of them, so we're going to answer them. I'll just feed these to you. Can the offensive line get back? His words. Can the offensive line get back to being dominant in the run game? He said, I want nasty guys up front. Can we get back to that, you think?
If he's talking back to the 2010 era, I don't think it's going to get back to that because it's, like we said, the portal, it ruins everything. But the Bison have evolved. They're not going to go under center on 3rd and 4 and run it at you.
Yeah.
But I do think they're going to improve if that's kind of what the question is. You lose Bo Johnson, you lose Trent Fraley. That's not great, but you bring back a lot of young guys. I think they're going to be fine.
Who will the playmakers be at wide receiver, you think, in your mind? We've said a couple of them.
Yeah, I think Jackson Williams is in for a big year as a junior. Like you said, he's been a returner mostly. I think he's got the Darius Shepard tools, kind of, but faster, honestly. I think he could put the burners on. Mekhi Collins is in that mix, obviously. See what he can bring to the table. I think Isaiah St. Romain, I mentioned earlier, I think we should watch out for him.
Who will be the number 2 running back? We think DJ Scott's going to be the one. Yep. Who's the number 2 back? There's a couple candidates for the running back 2 spot.
I think it's going to be a battle between Cortez LeGrant and Miles Mitchell. Miles Mitchell redshirted, obviously. Cortez LeGrant didn't get a lot of carries, but when he did, he had a burst.
He had a burst, which is important.
He kind of had Ty Brooks vibes to him, maybe a little smaller. I think Cortez LeGrant's the front runner at the moment.
Which portal addition will have the biggest impact? This is a good one.
I'm going with Gage Schmidt from Dickinson State.
I
think we talked about Reese Kessel. The Bison like to have more than one tight end on the field. It's just in their DNA.
Yeah.
I think it's Gage Schmidt. I think he's
Gage
got the
Gilbert
size.
is his name.
Or Gage Gilbert, yeah, sorry. I think the size, he's like 6'6", 250.
He's 6'6", 250.
That's ridiculous. He's going to be a blocking tight end.
No, again, it's lower level football. I get it. But 33 receptions for 273 yards and 3 touchdowns last year. I get it. It may not sound great, but
who's throwing to him?
When you think about, like, if guys with that kind of size and stature usually aren't found in lower ranks like that.
No.
So for the Bison to get a guy like that should probably work out in their favor. So which recruit, not portal edition, which recruit will make a splash? He says here.
Does Tucker Thieneman get on the field?
As a true freshman, I mean, Ryan Babbitts did.
Lane Kiffin was going after him. I mean, that says something.
Well, I mean, he was, and then he took off, so I don't know.
But the Bison don't like to. I mean, Pulisic likes to play freshmen, actually. I shouldn't say that, but as a true freshman, it's hard to play. I don't know. I think Gabe Cunningham, that was recruited last year, I think he could get in the mix. That's the guy I'm excited to see.
So you don't see a lot of true freshmen playing, like, unless they're low at the position because of injuries, or because he's just so good that we just have to play him right away. Babbitts is kind of in that they don't really have an offensive line set, and he was too good to stick up in the first row at the Dome on Saturday. So he had to be on the field and dressed, and that's really important.
I don't think we're going to see that situation emerge again. I think if it's a freshman playing, it's going to be because he's just that good.
He's just that good. Last question he has. Can Code Green match or exceed 2025? Now, giving up 29 points in a playoff game, hopefully they can exceed those expectations.
I think they can because the strength. Let's be real. The strength of the team was the defense. I mean, when the offense struggled, the defense picked them up like that UND game. The linebackers, I think, are going to be fine. I think the corners are the question a little bit. Who's going to rush the passer? That's my question because I think stopping the run, they're going to be just fine. The safeties are solid, but if he's asking if we think they can, I think so.
Yeah. So that's all we got for this edition. Please follow us on X for more behind-the-scenes content. Follower count 379. Can we get to 400 before the end of the month? I hope so. Go watch our other content here on Bin News, our 2 cents, Bison Talk. Those latter are coming up soon. Are all in the docket for this semester, so be on the look for episodes of that. Again, that'll do it for us, for our great crew in the back, for Ethan and Peter here on the set. I'm Grant Hubbard saying so long from North Fargo. We'll see you next week. Horns up and go Bison.